A spectacular performance. Curry from half court. Sometimes, something looks like it's been there a while.
We are here, the 3 Points Podcast, after Game 3 just concluded last night. An absolute thriller, an absolute dogfight, and an absolute great time for us Warriors fans. We came out with the win. We did promise our fans, our loyal fans, that we're going to record after each game. But after Game 2,
Again, the
there
recording
was
was lost. We did it, but
Oh
the
yeah,
recording
yeah.
was
Recording
lost.
a loss. Unfortunately, in the cloud server, the database and all that, it was not working. So that's why we couldn't release a Game 2 episode. But today's episode, we will capture Game 2 and Game 3, talk about both of them one game at a time. So let's start with Game 2. Obviously, the biggest thing about Game 2 was Jimmy Butler's injury. I believe in the first quarter, Jimmy had only played, like 6 to 8 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. That absolute fraud, that absolute scumbag Amen Thompson. People are coping all over the internet. I mean, I think Thomas, he sent that tweet, which was like perfect. It showed an angle literally from the bottom where you could see directly Amen Thompson, everything.
Mhm.
People are coping that Draymond shoved in. First of all, I mean, the Draymond hate, as per usual, right? As playoffs start, it gets more intense, which shout out Draymond. He's used to it, he's accustomed to it. That fool was like trying to, he literally, I mean, I don't know how to say, he just plunged himself. He just went head first. First of all, if you're trying to grab a rebound, you're going head first. Good thinking, bro. And he knocked Jimmy Butler as he's like coming down, and he landed on his butt, to be honest. But
I
not to be
remember.
honest, he just landed on his butt. And it was a, what's it called? A
Pelvic
Of a
contusion.
contusion.
pelvic
Yeah.
contusion. And it looked painful. Bro was writhing in pain. He was moving back and forth, up and down. I mean, freaking piece of crap. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, okay, what do you guys think? Do you guys think, because obviously, do you guys think it was like blatant intention? No?
No, I
Or what?
think my opinion is that it's just like really reckless. Like their entire game plan is just to crash the glass like crazy, and that was that. Like really reckless, like just kind of running in there. No, I don't think he intentionally like meant to like calculated like, okay, Jimmy's like at his apex now. Let me knock him off his balance, and then he'll land on his back. I don't think it was like intentional like that, but it's definitely reckless. Like just something bad is bound to happen eventually.
Thomas?
I mean, he was just trying to shove past him is what was happening. So, like, that's what's gonna happen. You're trying to shove past somebody. You're not really paying attention to what's going on the other side of them, and you end up throwing yourself right into the path of somebody who's falling down.
Yeah.
It's kind of a freak accident, but it is, like Wes said, also a reckless play.
Yeah, I think, but besides it being a reckless play, I think the other thing that stood out to me was that there was like zero remorse. So it was almost as if like they're thinking, "Sheesh." In a way, in
Yeah,
the back of their
Yeah, I
mind, they're
mean,
definitely thinking that
they're all
because
like evil people. They're all
you
bad
look at
people.
that fool, like he's trying to act like he got hurt. He
Like
was sitting
every
on the
person on
floor,
the team,
grabbing his head.
100%.
It's like 0% remorse, so, which is why it pisses me off even more because like, all right, you did a reckless play. You clearly, bro, was jumped so high. I mean, you were saying like he was. What did you say, Tommy? You were saying something that like,
Because
uh,
I made a joke. I was like, dog, if that happened at the park, I would have been thinking about calling the ambulance. And they're like, okay, chill out. And I was like, look, yes, that does sound like an overreaction. Point being, normal people can't jump so high that you can literally undercut them at their fucking butt. Like that's not only NBA players can jump that high. So I mean, that's just that a play that dangerous can only happen in the NBA is basically
yeah,
what I was saying.
yeah, and you're absolutely right. And I think once that happened, I knew it was Jover, it was Raps. Not only because, all right, so game 3 we had some time to plan, right? Game 2 was just like, all right, Butler's gone. What the heck do we do now? We just
and
have to revert to
Pulse is already kind of feeling sick, so it's kind of
exactly.
all
Pause had
downhill
food
from there.
poisoning, exactly, and
I think it was
not everyone's Michael Jordan, unfortunately, right? So he had his version of the food game, aka food poisoning game, and he couldn't perform. So I'm gonna say a little bit of stats, and then I'm gonna give the rest of the floor to the gentleman. Uh, so for game 2, obviously we lost 109 to 94, and if we look at our box score, Curry with 20, Butler with 3. He had only 8 minutes. Draymond with 8. Moody with 12. Pods with 0. Kaminga with 11, but really ugly 11. Yes, that's another thing that also happened. Kaminga got a chance to play. like wow. It was the situation was that bad that it was like, all right, bro, Kaminga suit up. At one point, our roster was Pat Spencer, Looney, Guy Santos, I think Draymond, and like GP2.
The
Like,
offensive
wow,
firepower.
wow, that is like, oh my God, that's like put me
Defense
out
wins
there at that point.
championships.
I mean, true. Nico Harrison was sitting somewhere thinking, damn. They're cooking over there in the Bay with that one, right? So really, really ugly stuff. I think on the other end for the Rockets, this was Jalen Green. Like Thomas hit the nail on the head. Streaky, right? 38 points. He went off. And that
And then
kind of
nine.
that. Sorry, can you repeat that?
And then nine this game. It's just
And then, oh
basketball.
yeah, exactly. So streaky, right?
Yeah.
Just very, very streaky. Sengun with 17, 16, and 10. Obviously, this was another one of those games where they just killed us on the rebounds. They had 15 more than us. They had 47 to our 33. But besides that, open floor, any takeaways and stuff like that for you guys. Wes, why don't you start?
Yeah,
Switch
sure.
it up here.
Nice. I mean, I think people forget that, like when looking back at this past game three, like Hassan said, we had time to game plan for a game without Jimmy, whereas like game two was kind of just like, oh shit, just we're throwing darts at the board, like nothing really going for us. But game three, I think we came in with like a much more like concrete plan. And I think something that people forget about is our defense is as good as theirs when we're kind of like dialed in as athletic as they are, we kind of won on the defensive glass on the defensive end of the floor because their offense is just not as potent as ours. Like with Steph going, guys rolling, it's like the IQ on our team is just like so much more like high motor. Like Steph was really cooking. I mean, like the attention he grabbed, like as physical as like I think like Jason Tim shout out he kind of brought at this point, but like the
Fellow podcast
physicality
host, collab coming soon.
friend of the show.
Friend of
Yeah.
the show, friend of the show, Jason Tim.
But something like he brought up is, and like something I kind of thought about is like the physicality, like, oh, we like to complain, like, oh, they're not calling calls, like they're being so physical with Steph, it's working against us. But I think in reality, it kind of allows us to, like, we get away with some illegal screens, like, to be honest, but we kind of, I think that's how the rest kind of balance it out is like, okay, being extra physical with Steph, they're fouling them off the ball like crazy, but they also kind of let like some GP2 and Draymond and Quinton Post illegal and Looney illegal screens go a lot of the time. And that just like allows us to get into 4-on-3s a lot of the time. That's basically how we close out the game. Is like Steph, as great as he was, like in that third quarter, he totally like heated up. GB2 and like Draymond's decision making in the short roll, like once he gets the pass out from the double team to those guys, they're making like excellent decisions. Make or miss, they made excellent decisions. GB2 like he made like two or three like really good rolls, like where the guy has to choose between like slipping to guard GP2 or leave one guy open the corner. And like oftentimes we made excellent decisions in that position. And then their offense just was not like on the other end, we were able to like Draymond Green, man, holy he's got to be like, in my opinion, like the greatest defender of all time. Like what he did to Şengün, like it looks like you pass it to Şengün, he's like 2 feet from the basket. For anyone else, that's a layup, including Evan Mobley, in my opinion, who won DPOY, but that's beside the point. But Draymond Green locked his ass up. And Jalen Green also, or yeah, we locked up Şengün. Jalen Green also had a pretty terrible game as we kind of locked his ass up too. And outside of them, it's like, okay, who else is going to create any offense? Like Amen Thompson, yeah, I'm not worried about him. Steven Adams, I'm not worried about him. Tari Eason, I'm not worried about him. The only way their offense is potent is, I don't know what that was. Is like in game two when they have everything going. Like they're two kind of heads of the snakes. Jalen Green and Şengün kind of have it going. That's kind of the only way that their offense kind of gets clicking because then they get it hit it out to some excellent cutters like Tari Eason and Men Thompson. But when their two-headed snake is not firing, then it's kind of like, okay, what else can you do? So that's kind of my main takeaways.
Yeah,
Next to Thomas.
I love the two-headed snake thing you just said at the end. That's beautiful. I think you summarized it perfectly, right? And another thing you shouted
No
out was a
need for me to
foul.
talk, right?
Yeah, I was gonna just give my
He stole
commentary
a
on
ball.
Wes's
He
take,
stole a ball. I threw it to
and
Thompson. He
I'm
stole a
gonna dish
ball.
it back to you. It's a hockey pass from Wes to you. He's gonna pass it to me. I'm gonna pass it to you. You did the one thing you also said, which I really liked. I want to just briefly say, and then Thomas is all you, my man. Is that the foul calling? Because obviously as Warriors fans we're biased that oh my God they're killing Steph. but we also are playing super rough. Like our screens are basically illegal screens almost every time. Like Draymond's sticking his butt out. He's like trying to like bump someone. They're clearly shifting. It is very much like no fouls are being like
But I
no
think it
ticky
works in our
tacky call,
favor, honestly.
and it does. It for sure does. If they start calling those ticky tacky fouls, those screens, then hey, Steph doesn't get those like runarounds. Then the GP2 doesn't get that cut. We don't have that breathing space, which is what we very much need. So shout out to the refs. Honestly, shout out to the refs. They are calling it not by the book, but they are kind of balancing it out pretty fairly. Now, Thomas, go ahead.
Well, I mean, yeah, just the point about the physicality. I mean, have you heard a single Warriors player complain in the media about physicality, or like Steve Kerr, or anybody? Because I
Really.
haven't.
Yeah.
Because you hear
Kind
like
of just the fans.
it's the fans, and then in other series you have I think it was like Josh Hart or somebody who was after the game. He was like, "Man, like I know it's the playoffs, but you can't. You have to call some of these." And it's like, dog. I mean, you can say that, but this is how playoff basketball is ref, and it's how it's been ref for 50 years, and I don't think it's going to change. And then to the thing about Jalen Green, like, I mean, I said like, okay, he's streaky, but this level of streaky is kind of incredible. Even for him, this is kind of incredible to go from like 8 to 38 to 9, back to back to back is pretty insane. I think you saw in that game, his 38-point game, like it wasn't really he wasn't doing anything different. It was just he was pulling up from like 28 feet and just hitting shots. And that's the incredible thing about him is he has that ability to go from being completely incapable of creating his own look to just pulling up from 28 feet and knocking threes down. But I think that kind of does speak to the fact that unless he can have another one of those, like, where did that come from performances, there's nothing that he's doing that's going to consistently carry over. He's not creating good looks for himself. He's not consistently beating his man off the dribble and getting himself easy layups. Nothing they're running is getting him easy looks from three. Like he has to be so locked in to have another one of those performances. And I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say anything because he is a guy who just has that dog in him, like every once in a while. But I don't really think he's going to have another one of those performances. And if he doesn't, I mean, like Wes said, where are they going to get their offense from, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think another fact is like I think Draymond Green is just so phenomenal how he's single-handedly in all their heads. He's in Green's head. We saw that emotional outburst, that tantrum he was showing last night in the post conference. He was saying, "Man, all he could do is talk." Buddy, he locked you up. We got the win. He locked you and your duo, Sengun, up. Where were you guys? What do you mean he's only doing talking? This is your first playoff series in your entire career. You're talking to a guy who has 4 rings. What are you talking about? He only does talking. Please, please, don't be silly. You not going to be the greatest Green ever. What's his name? Jamichael Green better than you, bro. You the third
Michael
best
Green,
Green.
yeah.
You the third
That's
best
straight out of
Green,
the
bro.
Dylan Brooks playbook, though. He learned that one from Dylan Brooks. It's the classic
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks line. Oh, he just taught like just say whatever you can to save
Exactly.
face. Just say it.
Oh, it's just cope. You're coping. So I think that's a good segue to Game 3, where she came out. I thought it was over. Like when they said Jimmy, like of course, classic front office, media kind of tactic. You don't say that he's out. I'm sure they figured out he's out like for Game 3, like immediately when he went back, got the MRI of his booty cheeks done. They were like, "Oh, he's out. He's not playing." But they obviously didn't say it. They tried to play it out to kind of keep the Rockets on their toes. But once it came out a couple hours before the game, I was like, it's a wrap. It's time to go home. We're not winning. And I came to that game with that mentality. And my little cousin, Abbas, fellow YouTuber Lion Plays, we're gonna collab out with him soon. He was like, no, 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 you never know. We're gonna win, blah, blah. And he was hopeful. It's that youthful energy, right? He's like 10, 11 years old. He got that youthful energy. And he was like, no, no, we're gonna win, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, bro, just put the fries in the bag, it's over. But we came out, and how did we win? Steph, I mean, it was a recipe where everything had to go perfectly. Steph had to have an amazing game, and the role players had to play well. And guess who showed up? Buddy freaking Hield, Splash Buddy.
Oh,
He
yeah.
looked like he was the reincarnation of the early, October, November Buddy Hield, all-star-esque player, and GP2. These two guys were the random show-ups where they had both, if I'm going to say their stats real quick, Buddy Hield with 17 points. God damn. 6 for 13 from the field, 5 for 11 from downtown. Phenomenal, phenomenal. And then Gary Payton the second, 16 points. Oh my God, this is what we needed. It was It was a perfect showing. It was exactly what we needed. And then obviously on the defensive end, Draymond freaking Green. Oh my God. It was just like it was oh my God, it was crazy. You cannot really I cannot understate how amazing bro is. Overstate. Phenomenal, phenomenal. And then Moody 7 points, not an insane game. Pods 10, not insane, but plus 13. You love to see it. And then of course Stephen freaking Curry, 36 points, 5 for 13 from the three, 12 for 23 from downtown. I remember my same cousin Lion plays. When in the beginning of the game, Steph had 2 points or something like that in the first quarter, and he was like shaking his head or something like that, and he was like smiling, and my cousin was like, he's locking in. I was like, bro, just shut up. It's over. It's over. And that's what Steph did. He locked in. He played phenomenal. And on the other end for the Rockets, it was a no-show. Not a single player with over 20 points. Sengun, it was like he was gone. First half, he was hooping. Van Vliet, first quarter, he was hooping. Disappeared. No show. I don't want to say too much. I'm gonna leave the floor open for you guys this time. Thomas, you start with your analysis. Go ahead.
You mentioned Van Vliet. I saw an insane stat on Twitter over his last 11 games against the Warriors. He's shooting 25% from the field. From the field goal
Oof.
percentage, 25%. That is ridiculous. I know this is the worst spot we focus on the Warriors. If I was the Rockets fan or the Rockets head coach, I might think about straight up benching him and trying to see what Justin Holiday can give you in the point guard spot, because he just looks incapable of creating his own shot, incapable of knocking down his open shots, incapable of really doing anything. And then, back to the Warriors side. I mean, what a fucking game from Stephen Curry. I mean, just some of the fucking looks he was hitting, just he's literally being chased around by two, like literally chased. Like he's coming around screens and you see two, they're like running after him like a cartoon. And he's just like driving to the bucket,
Yeah.
finishing a tough layup. I mean, if I was, if you're the Rockets, how the fuck do you defend him when he's playing like that, when he's shooting like that? I mean, that dagger three hit where he gets a pass and he kind of just like stands there for 2 seconds and like sizes up his guy and then just boom, quick trigger right over him, knocks it down, dagger three like that. Those buckets. I mean, and there's nobody on the Rockets who can do that. And that's one of the really big differences in the series. They don't have a guy who can do that. And how do you beat a team who has a guy who can do that when you don't have anybody who can even come close? So, yeah.
One thing I did want to kind of bring up is the rebounding differential. Like that was like one of my keys going into the game is like how much like we're gonna lose it, but how much can we kind of like limit our loss? And in game two, which we lost the differential by 14 rebounds. We had 33 to their 47. That's 14. And then in
Yep.
this past game, in my MVP of the rebounding is Quentin Post, in my opinion, like battling down low with Stephen Adams. We only lost by 6 in the total rebound differential, like 45 to
He had
51.
11.
Yeah, he had 12, I thought.
Well, ooh.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's like huge. Like another way like those guys get hot, like a Jalen Green gets hot, is those second chance points, like getting it back out. And that's like a huge killer to us is like, oh, we defend for like a good amount of time. They get a shot off, they miss, but then they just get the rebound again. And that's just like that kills, like especially for our old guys. Like we play a lot of old guys like Draymond, GP2, Buddy, Steph. It's like a huge motivation killer when you defend pretty well. They get a shot off, they miss, but then they just get it back and then they're right back. You have to defend for another possession. That's a huge killer, but I think that was also another story of the game is like Steph on the offense, Draymond on the defense, but then kind of the collective and in my opinion, mostly Quentin Post battling down low and kind of limiting how much they're killing us on the defensive glass. Because I think that's huge. Like get it within, as long as like the differential we can lose by like less than 10, I will honestly take that. Like we're gonna lose it just because they are that much quicker than us. Like that's another reason like that's how Jimmy Butler got injured is because they're just crashing the glass like crazy. We can't crash the glass like them. We're not as big as them, but we just got to kind of limit the way they can beat us. So I think that's huge.
Yeah,
Going
and you
forward.
shouted out Quentin Post. Offensively, he struggled severely. He only had 2 points, I think, if I'm not
But make your
mistaken.
impact in other ways. If you're not hitting your shot, you gotta make your
Exactly.
impact in other ways.
Exactly. And that's why I'm not too pressed with him because yeah, he was 1 for 7 from the field, 0 for 3 from downtown, which is more annoying. The 0 for 3 is bad. You are a stretch big. You should shoot. That's not you're not asking too much. A lot of his looks are open. They're wide open. And the issue is that he's obviously a rookie, first playoff series ever. He's getting to his head a little bit too, where he had an open look. I remember once or
Yeah,
twice, and he's
he passed
hesitating.
up a couple.
Exactly. So don't do that post. Shoot it, dog. Shoot it. It's okay. You will miss, but get out of your system. Get used to it. Get accustomed. But absolutely, while he was struggling on the offensive side, on the other end of the court, he was phenomenal. 12 rebounds is huge. It's huge, man. Three offensive, nine defensive, battling it out. It is beautiful because he's not athletic at all. So him grabbing a lot of boards, it's a reassuring thing for like me personally because I was just like, man, is this guy just a shooter? Which again, it's nice to have a stretch big. We've never had one, but to be able to kind of thug it out and get rebounds, you love to see it with the best offensive rebounder in the league, Steven Adams. So beautiful. That's awesome. He's making his presence felt. I really do want Looney to just not get minutes anymore. I hate to say it. It's just put in Trace. I don't understand why we're not just putting in Trace. They almost have. It's almost like which Thomas I think you mentioned or whatever. The post Looney era will be Trace problem. That's why we signed him to a long-term contract, right? A 4-year deal right after, right in the draft. That's why we did it because we wanted to get that post Looney era covered. Just give him minutes. He is a rebounder. He's more athletic than Looney. On the defensive end, I would probably take him over Looney, right? They're about the same size as well,
Bro.
right? It's not, go ahead.
The Looney contest where he goes like he jumps up, like he tries to do the verticality thing, and the dude just like sidesteps past him and
Yeah.
lays it up. I'm getting
Yeah,
so
that was
tired of
like
watching
Jalen
that.
Green. I think Jalen Green did that, right? Or I forgot who. It was
Yeah,
someone. I know
twice,
exactly what you're talking about.
like two consecutive plays.
Again, it's one
Yeah,
of those things where it's just like I don't know what's obviously I don't think Kerr will do that just because Looney's been here, blah blah blah, and all this, and he's a vet on the team. But he absolutely should. It's almost a no-brainer for me to just put in Trace, give him the minutes, give him the exposure. Because Looney is almost he's a negative player for us, in my opinion, at this point. He's
it
getting
looks like
he got
it. Yeah,
he got 14 minutes. Maybe there's something that we're seeing that they're seeing on their end that we can't. But I don't know. Please just give Trace the time. If I'm Kerr, I'm doing that. Another thing, the and I just remembered was like the heel, the dribbling. Like he had a phenomenal game. But dog, if you're getting stripped from Steven Adams, oh my God, bro. Really? It's one of those things where it's like, bro, please do not dribble. Do not dribble. Butler is absolutely right. Do not dribble. Stop dribbling. Um, but I don't think there's anything more to say about the game. It was just a very, very nice game from the Dubs, man. It was phenomenal. Now as for the future games, what's my prediction? I don't think we see Butler in game 4, to be honest. Something tells me we don't see him, especially I feel
There's no
like Kerr
need.
will have exactly.
yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, obviously, we do need him, like, because I personally think we will lose game 4 if we don't have Kerr, just because I don't see Hield having this type of game again, and I don't see GP2 having this type of game again as well. And another game where Steph scores 36, is it possible? For sure, it's Steph, right? But I don't see it entirely feasible. Now, on the defensive end, I do see us locking them up again. I do see us in their head as well. So I do see it that Green and Sengun struggle again. Obviously, VanVleet sucks. Like what you said in one of the YouTube shorts in our last episode. VanVleet, the dude just kind of sucks. And that's kind of it, right? He does suck a little bit. So my prediction is we don't see Butler in game 5, and we do potentially take the L, unfortunately. I do see that happening. If we do get Butler back, and is he healthy? That's another on the flip side. If he's like really like 90+% recovered, all right, bring him back. But if he's like 80%, 70, 80%, bro, don't rush it, man. It's a long series. It's a long playoffs. This playoff, I see us winning the chip, man. I really do. I'm getting confidence in this team, in this roster. It could be delusional a little bit, but look, if you even think about it in the West, who could really knock us out? I don't think the Nuggets would knock us out. They're
Thunder.
not the same Nugget.
I mean,
Sorry,
yeah, no, nobody else, but the Thunder. I
the
mean,
Thunder are the biggest
nobody
threat.
else, but
The Thunder are the biggest threat, but even that, yeah, it would be a tough series. It would be a tough series, and we'll see that. I can see us maybe meeting the Western Conference Finals, but I guess we'll do more deeper analysis if we ever get to that point. But anyways, that's my kind of short-term analysis. I think game 4, Butler won't be back, and we will lose that game. Personally, yeah. What do you guys think?
I think
I
we'll
mean,
win game
let's
4.
not forget. Oh, sorry, Wiz, my bad.
No, no, you're good. I think we'll win game 4. Like with or without Jimmy, I think kind of showed like I think we got the confidence now and we kind of broke their confidence a little bit. They won't show it, but I think we kind of showed them that we did the unthinkable or not the unthinkable, the impossible, I guess.
Impossible. Yeah.
Like nobody thought we'd be able to win without Jimmy, and we just went ahead and did it. And it didn't feel like it was close, but it also kind of felt like once their offense stalled out, it was kind of inevitable that we would come back and just kind of like whether or not like Steph hit some crazy shots, we were gonna get like way better consistent offense. So I see us like with or without Jimmy just winning regardless. And I think our vets understand the gravity of the situation where the momentum is in our favor. We just had to like take advantage. Like I said, with or without Jimmy, we're gonna kind of put our best game forward. So I think take us winning.
Yeah, I mean, what I was
What
gonna
would
say
you?
is like, let's not forget 2022 when we won the chip. That first series against the young team, the Grizzlies, it went six, and in the end, did it matter? No, it didn't. So I wouldn't, if I were Jimmy, I wouldn't rush back. I would probably sit out. I mean, again, I don't know what pain he's feeling. I don't know anything, but when Steph had the same exact injury, he missed 2 games. I think it would just kind of make sense if Jimmy ended up missing 2 games as well. If I was Jimmy, I wouldn't rush myself back, and I would let this team try to go out and repeat their miracle of game three. And if they don't, well, guess what? It's 2-2. You're going to go back. You have one game. You just had to win one game away at Houston, which you already did. And then you can come back home and take the series. And that's honestly what I think is going to happen. I think I agree with Son. I think Jimmy sits out. We lose game four, and we end up winning in six anyways. But I would absolutely love if we could, find a little bit of magic in game four as well and win it.
Oh, you
So
would? You'd like that?
I would actually, yeah.
Oh,
I'm not rooting for us to
you'd prefer
lose.
the Warriors to win in game four?
Yes, I would.
I
Yeah,
guess.
hot
I mean,
take,
I get it's a
especially
little
on
bit of a
this
a
podcast.
little bit not to be controversial here, but yeah, and I think like I just don't see because we were making some tough shots, man, and I just don't see because like Hield was also like quick trigger, like he was getting like a boom and he's popping it and he was hitting it. I just find it really hard to see him go off like that again. So we'll see. I'm excited, man. Tomorrow night is the game. We will be back at it with you guys after game four. That's our promise. That is our promise to us, our loyal fans. We will record the episode, game four, and we will get it out Tuesday to you guys. I don't think there's anything more to say. We're excited. I'm hopeful. It was a huge win yesterday. Absolute thriller. We'll catch you guys in the next one.